Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Roxy. If this is your first time here, I'm so happy that you decided to click on this video. If you haven't already liked the video or subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you would go ahead and subscribe. If you watched my Kindle video, which I did a review on my new Kindle that I got in November, and I talked about my reading goals for 2021 and how excited I was to be able to share my journey with you all. So I want to do a video about my February TBR, and I'm excited. So if you're interested in learning what I'm reading this upcoming month, go ahead, stay tuned, and let's get into the video. Okay, so I want to start off with the books that I bought in January. One of these books will be on my February TBR list, so let's go ahead and start there. I actually bought paper books in January. I had some books that were coming out that I really wanted in my actual book collection, so I went ahead and picked those up. The first book I bought, they're all here. The first book I bought is Lore, and this is by Alexandra Bracken. I was super excited to get this book because I love Greek mythology, and it's set in New York City, and I also love New York City, so I was like, you know, with those two things together, maybe I'll really enjoy this book. So I am excited. I've already started reading it. I'm on about page 100, so I'm only a quarter of the way through, but I am enjoying this book so far. The next book that I bought was Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. I was super excited about this book. I do have her book, The Hate You Give, and I really enjoyed this book, so I'm super excited to learn more about more of the characters in this book. And I will not be reading this in February, or, well, I'm reading Lore, but I will probably take a little bit of a break. And this one I will most likely read in March. So the next book that I bought, I actually bought yesterday, and I've really been looking forward to this book, and I had to have the paper copy. And I bought the book yesterday. I came home and I learned of the news. And this book is Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson. She is such an icon, such a legend, and I really wanted to learn so much more about her story. And there's pictures in this book. I'm so excited to dive into this book. It's like, and I'm just excited to read this book. Book on my list is actually a book that I've wanted to read for a while, and I finally was able to check it out from my library. I checked out both the audiobook and the ebook so that I can read them both kind of together. And this book is Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston. This book is about her interviews with Cujo Lewis in 1927. He was one of the last known survivors of the Middle Passage. It's just an account of his experiences and his journey, and I think this is such an important story to tell. I have really been looking forward to this book, and I finally was able to get it. I will likely buy this book as well as a paper book when I get the chance. So I'm very picky about like the kind of paper books that I own. I want books that I feel like people in my life will come and read, as well as books that I will read more than one time. So those are kind of the two qualifications that I use when purchasing physical books. The next book on my February TBR is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I also checked this book out as an ebook from my local library, and this book also an extremely important story to tell. Henrietta Lacks, if you haven't heard of her, she was a black woman whose cells were used without her knowledge. So her body was essentially used for science to discover things like vaccines. It was used to do research on gene mapping, in vitro fertilization, cloning cells, genes, things like it was used for a lot of things, a lot of medical experiments, but they did not get her consent or the consent of her family to use her cells or her body for medical research. And her family actually did not know for like 20 years. No one knew that they were doing all this stuff with her cells. So It's just a story about her life, who she was, and I believe it talks also about how that actually happened. And I know, like, today with so many things going on in the world medically, and the discussion about getting a virus, and if you trust the virus, not getting a virus, getting a vaccine, and if you trust the vaccine, and why certain people are so mistrusting of medicine, especially new medicine. So I'm actually curious to learn exactly what happened. Like, how do you just choose to just take someone's, like, how do you just choose to do research on somebody without consulting them or their family or anything like that? So these are the 3 books that I plan to read in February. I may read more, but I don't want to give myself too much. I really want to be able to take my time and read these books and get everything that I am able to get, learn as much as I can, and just really take my time. And I'm one of those people, like, I'll read and then I'll start researching stuff. So that is really who I am. I get so distracted by, like, oh my gosh, what is that? And then I'll, like, go on this whole Google search and I'll get lost. You guys, I'm a Scorpio. Research is my thing. I get so involved, but I'm really excited about these books. Let me know down below in the comments what you plan to read for February, and if you plan to read Black History Month books, if you plan to read love stories, and if you've read any of the books on my list, let me know also in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. You guys are amazing, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye. I just want to say that my plant is not dying. If you saw it back here in the background looking sad, I bought this plant last week and I have not repotted it, and she wants to be repotted. So I'm gonna do this weekend, you guys. And in the next video, you're gonna see her looking gorgeous. I don't know what's happening right now. Just ignore it. I know she's in the background sad. She's not sad, okay? She's resting.